is known as the Jotun Goddess of Winter. So make sure you use this build to freeze your enemies in their tracks. What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have an epic build for Skadi in Shin Megami Tensei V. Now in this video, I'm going to go over the skills and stats that you need to make this build absolutely epic. Then, when we get into some more gameplay, I'm going to talk about why these skills are amazing for Skadi. And then stick around for the end of the video, where I'm going to talk about the essence fusions you could use to fuse into Skadi to make this build come to life. Without further ado, let's get into the build. The HP and MP are on the screen at 339 and 363 respectively. We're going to resist fire and ice and null dark, and of course null seal as well. The stats you want to focus on are going to be magic and agility. Now the bread and butter, the skills. We have Bufubarian, which is a severe ice attack to one foe. Of course we want to freeze our enemies in their tracks. Then we have Mamudun, which is going to be a heavy dark attack to all foes, which does have a chance of insta-killing when striking a weakness. We have Mudubarian, which is a severe dark attack to one foe, a chance of insta-killing when striking a weakness. Slumber Vortex, put your enemies to sleep, which has a chance of sleep and mirage. Then we have Makajamayan, which is a chance of inflicting seal. Then we have Ice Pleroma, which is going to increase our ice attacks, and resist fire, strengthens resistance to fire skills. Now, you can see that there is an empty slot, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in the video, but around this level that you do have Skadi at, depending upon how much glory you've invested or found, you may or may not have that 8th slot unlocked. So I left it blank to show you an amazing skill tree with just 7 skills, but I will talk about what you can put in that 8th slot if you have unlocked all 8 slots for Skadi. Without further ado, let's talk about the build. So first, we're going to talk about the offensive attacks. Bufubarian is going to be Skadi's bread and butter. It is a severe ice attack. Skadi gets +4 to ice attacks, and it's going to hit a lot of enemies hard, particularly around this point in the game. Really, throughout Shin Megami Tensei, ice is going to be a very reliable skill type to use. Around this point in the game, Bufubarian is no different. You're going to encounter a lot of enemies and bosses that are weak to ice, so this is going to be a great skill to have. Then we have 2 dark type attacks, Mamudun and Mudubarian. One is going to hit one enemy at a time for severe damage, and the other is going to hit all enemies. As you're progressing through the story, you're going to encounter a lot of groups of enemies. Having a move that hits all of them to deal a lot of damage is going to be very nice to have, so you can whittle those enemies down a lot quicker. Especially as you're making way to a boss like Metatron, you're going to encounter a lot of groups of enemies, and a move that hits all of those enemies is going to be fantastic. Furthermore, having the skills that inflict status effects, such as Slumber Vortex and Makajamayan, they are going to be great for groups of enemies as well. They're going to stop enemies in their tracks. Of course, we have 2 different types. We have one that has a chance of inflicting mirage and sleep. This is going to stop enemies from attacking you. And then we have Makajamayan, which is going to inflict seal, which is going to stop enemies from hitting us with their special skills, forcing them to just plainly attack us. So both of these are absolutely great to have, particularly as you are progressing through some of those dungeons or areas that there are a lot of enemies blocking your path. Again, you're going to encounter a lot of enemies blocking your path. You're going to have to face them. There are going to be a lot of them that you have to take on, and using skills that inflict status effects that stop enemies in their tracks are going to provide a lot of support, not just to Skadi, but the entire party. whether it's putting enemies to sleep, making sure that they're not hitting the team, they're passing their turn, whether it's inflicting seal to make sure that they only have their main attack to use and they can't use any of their special attacks. Really, both are going to help out the party significantly. Now, of course, we can't get away without using a few passive type abilities to enhance our build as well. As I mentioned earlier, Bufubarian is going to be our main attack, and the Ice Pleroma is going to increase that attack, making it even stronger. Skadi's only weakness is to fire, so utilizing Resist Fire is going to be great here. However, if you are able to find Null Fire at this point in the game, I would recommend using that instead of Resist Fire, of course, because you're nulling fire instead of just resisting it. So now that we've gone over the build, let's get into where you can find these essences to make this build absolutely epic. First, let's talk about the skills Skadi already gets. Bufubarian, Makajamean, Mamudun, and Mudubarian. You don't have to worry about finding those, as Skadi is already going to be able to get those. If you want Resist Fire, Pisaka is a great essence to use. If you want Null Fire, use Zhao Gongan. If you're looking for Ice Pleroma, there are a lot of essences you can find. You can have King Frost, King Long, or Anata. If you're looking for Slumber Vortex, Lilith and Vasuki. Now for that 8th slot, I would put in High Ice Pleroma just to increase our ice attacks a little bit more, and you can find that on Arioch. So let me know in the comments section if you have a build similar to this for Skadi, or is yours completely different? I'm interested in hearing about it. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Shin Megami Tensei V content. Until next time, peace.